Hey to the most amazing nurses. It is Dr. V here with Morning Infusion with Dr. V podcast, where we are intentional about teaching nurses how to work from anywhere around the world, making money and owning your own time, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses. You will hear from amazing guests that have grown their companies and want to share insight into how you can do the same to change the face of healthcare as we know it. If you want to grow your businesses and leverage your knowledge as a nurse to grow wildly successful businesses at the top, instead of working your way to the top, head on over and join our Millionaire Nurse CEO group on Facebook, where you can ask questions and get updates on our live and virtual events to help you grow your businesses. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, listen, we have got a special guest with us today, okay? So, let me first, before we even start, if you're on YouTube, I want you to hit the subscribe button. If you're on Apple, I want you to hit the download button. I want you to leave us a review. We want to know how we're doing, right? We want to make sure that everything is going right. Also, if you're on Facebook, why don't you leave us a comment? Like, we want to know how we're doing. We want to make sure that we are delivering to you what you want to be and what you want to have. So today we have an amazing guest, absolutely amazing, Alquincia. And so, Alquincia, tell us who you are in your own words.
Thank you. So, my name is Alquincia Selolwane. Most people know me from social media as A Conundrum. I am a serial entrepreneur, right? And I'm one of those who started with the least amount. And so in that journey, I have uncovered so many skills and tools that, I just could not pay for someone else to do. And so in my, trials and tribulations, I have unearthed a lot of skills and a lot of tools that now I don't just use for myself, but I use for other people. But overall, I am also the CEO and founder of the Black Virtual Mall and the Black Virtual Convention Center, as well as the CEO and founder of First Generation App Development Company. And so I also have a mentorship program and a few other things like that, but those are the most notable.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, it was interesting to me because when we started talking, we were talking about what we were going to basically your overcoming story, because we always want to tell those overcoming stories, because a lot of times what happens is nurses, they struggle with overcoming. And so one of the things that you said to me was you started talking about your overcoming story. So tell me a little bit about what was your overcoming story. And it was a phrase that you said, it was almost like a quote. So tell me what that was.
Right. And so when you said, what's your obstacle? I had to really kind of sit with that, because I think myself, probably like a lot of people, we have a lot, right? Depending on what phase of life you caught us in. And so when I thought about the question, I wanted to find the connective tissue, right? What was the thing that was more so ever present and an obstacle that I'm probably still even getting over? And that was the ability to, one, believe that I belonged, actually really taking into consideration that I had skills and I had talents and I actually was worthy. So most importantly, it was getting over telling myself no before others had the opportunity to. And so that was the little voice that was constantly telling me, you don't belong, or no, you can't, you're not ready, you're not fit for this. And I was believing that voice. And so that was causing me to either not take action or take half action, right? Or even sometimes be afraid to, as we talked about, negotiate for things that I was actually entitled to.
I absolutely love it, because it is so true. I mean, and it happens across the board. No matter what, right? Telling yourself no before someone else says, the answer is always no if you never ask the question, correct?
Yeah.
So you decided that you were going to start asking the question.
Right. And it came actually because, God is so generous with us. And a lot of times that doubt is based and rooted in maybe things that we've already had actually happen to us. So it's kind of cemented in, or sometimes it's external voices that have told you these things and things that you bared witness to. And so for me, the first experience was I actually started, community college, and I was a high school dropout. I was a teen mom at the time, and I was married. And then, we went that route. So we bought the home, and my ex-husband was military and everything. So I'm 29 now. And I had to get to a point of saying, okay, I've got to make some changes with what I want to do. So I decided to go to community college. And in that, I worked super hard because of that doubt, right? So I was studying, I was doing all of the extra work. And the first time it actually hit me was when a friend of mine said, hey, you should apply for scholarships. And I said, no, because what I thought in my mind was this is for a student, an AP student that's, I'm a mother of two, a wife, a dropout, like who's going to give me a scholarship? And so he kept insisting. So I applied. I applied for 11 and I won 3. And it was in that moment that I was like, what? And, it's amazing how that doubt can linger with you for years, but that immediate action of approval, it opened up the door for me. After that, I was like, oh, I'm in there, right? I'm there. And so you're going through the layers of it. So that was the first thing. And I said, oh, okay, so I'm worthy of this, right? And then secondly, it was time to transfer now. So I have a 3.9. And Berkeley was a prestigious college that I had always heard from my mother-in-law. And I applied because I had a waiver, to be honest with you. It was free. And even though I applied, I said, they'll never let me in. Even with all of this, right? They'll never let me in with a 3.9. And so I didn't do any of the preparatory work for housing and all of the different things that you have to set up in advance. And then all of a sudden I get this huge letter from Berkeley that says you're accepted. And I was like, I can't go, right? I literally, I'm not, we have not made any provisions to go. And in that vein, I remember telling myself, I'm not going to tell myself no. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going until someone else tells me no. So that was that. And then, of course, it came over into business, and, you can segue into that.
I love it. I love everything about that. And that's so true. Many people, especially nurses, because of the fact that, we're such in a box, right? And because we're in that box, what happens is trying to get us out of that box, trying to get us to think, like we can do anything that we want to do. It is huge. It's a huge mindset shift. And understanding that the things that we can do is literally limitless. And I love like what you've done, because you've really cultivated that spirit in the company that you have. So now tell me, you said that you had it's a virtual black mall. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what a virtual black mall is.
So the virtual black mall, I am a solutionist. I know it's not a real word, you guys, but I'm putting it into Google. We're gonna make this word work, okay? We're gonna make this stick. So solutionist. And I've always, when I hear problems, I immediately think about solutions. I'm that friend. I'm not that good friend for venting to. I'm that friend that after you vented, I've sorted out everything for you. I'm like, okay, girl, so we leaving, we moving. I got the U-Haul truck. You're like, I just wanted to vent, sis. So that is just how my mind works, right? And so the mall came about. Initially, I was doing an expo. So I was moving into the digital space as an app developer and things like that. So I'm always been into virtual worlds and things like that. But the mall was really a solution for the pandemic. So initially, I was just doing the expo, and that was the story I talked about earlier, where I had to pivot to the mall. And it was because I noticed that during the shutdown, 41% of Black-owned businesses had shuttered and closed. And so me knowing the Black consumer, because I'm already doing strategy, I always platform Black business owners. That's near and dear to my heart. So I've always been a part of that conversation, and I know some of their unique struggles, especially that we're charismatic people, right? We sell good. Like when we van, you come to anything, we got, and of course, a lot of our things are like tactile. So they taste good, they smell good, and we need that in-person, energy. And so knowing that all of those people are now relegated to a digital format where you just don't have that same connection. And I knew that they were going to struggle with that. So when I thought about it, I said, okay, what can I do? Instead of just saying, hey, you guys, let me teach you about marketing and social media and SEO, I said, why don't I just take them and do what was tried and true and proven was if I place them in a one-stop shop, they will get the traffic, right? And then they don't have to worry about anything. So it's a complete done for you service. So the Black Virtual Mall, we host, of course, Black owned businesses, or you have to at least be 50% Black owned. And I also did a few differentiators. Instead of having a plethora, I'm limited to 600 because I want high visibility and high exclusivity. I want them to be seen. Mm-hmm. And so we have that. Unlike other companies, I don't want to say their name on the thing, but some of the big box companies you go to, like if I ask you, where did you buy that? You'll say such and such. You won't say the name of the business because it's not branded that way. So at the mall, all of the branding is core centric. It's not just product pictures, it's your brand. And then when you stop and you click, that traffic goes directly to your website. We're just a pass-through. So we don't take any royalties or commissions or fees or anything like that. And most importantly, the customer lands on your website. That transaction ends on your website. So you get the traffic and they get to know who you are. So that's the Black Virtual Mall.
So how does the Black Virtual Mall make money then?
We charge one flat rent fee. So there's just a flat rent fee. So we have kiosks. We have bookstores for $50 a month, kiosks for $100, stores for $150, premium stores for $200, and food court for $125. And we are the only virtual mall, Black or otherwise, that has a food court that really delivers food and a movie theater.
That is wild. Mm-hmm. That is wild. You know, because I've always known you as a conundrum. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow, I love that. I love that. And so that is crazy. Okay. All right. I love it. So now tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that you have faced in this space.
Yeah. So in this space, one, imposter syndrome is a largely heard term, right? I don't code. Now, I can code to be fair, right? I can go back and do corrections and modifications, but I'm not a typical techie that just codes all day. My degrees are really in human sociology, psychology, and things of that nature. I just happen to have a core interest and have always had in web development and things like that. So that's just something that I'm privy to. But so if I were to go to a conference, I'm not, and people want to talk big terms and, large language models. I get the concept, but I'm not really that girl. I'm not that techie girl. But what I knew and I understood is that tech is just a vehicle. We need to make sure that the human uses it and interacts with it. If it's not friendly for the person, and I see some people and they do and build these monumental tech complicated things that we never use because it's just too complicated, right? So I'm not that techie person, right? That's one. But so getting behind and learning it and rolling my sleeves up, and then also making sure that that other aspect we talked about earlier stops hindering me from overspending. And I think that especially when you are, I won't say as a woman entrepreneur and as a Black woman entrepreneur, we want to be taken seriously. So we don't want to go in with the charitable mindset or the discount mindset because we want to prove that, take me serious, right? So we don't really go to negotiate because we don't want to be seen as a person, she can't afford it. She's not a real business owner. And so when I went to change my platform out and I wanted to make it permanent, which is their first time ever for this company that I work with, they did a case study on me. And I said, hey, I want to change it. Let me just modify it. And they said, oh, no, you have to start over. And, I kind of pressed a little, but not really. And I just said, okay, wow, I got to pay, and start all over again. And I had a conversation with someone. It was actually a white male that we were just talking about with the app. And in that conversation, he actually informed me and empowered me. And I called up the next day and I said, wait a minute. No, I don't want to do this. This is what I need. If I can't get this, then I'm going to go somewhere else. And they actually acquiesced to my needs. They acclimated to what I asked for. And it got a little too good to me because, first I was like, well, I'm not doing that. And he said, okay. And I said, and I'm not paying a whole year either. He said, okay. And I was like, oh, Lord Jesus. Okay, this is getting good. and another thing, you know, and I'm not doing that. And you know, before I know it, I said, "Oh, this is like, well, he created a beast," because I said, "I will never again." Oh man, you know, and I hate to say it this way, but for that moment, I said, "Is this what a white man feels like? Like, is this is what how it works? You just tell them, and then I said, wow, I'll never do that again." But you know, I say that I think it is something inherent to us as Black women, because we're going in saying, I don't want them to think that I'm a charity case, and I don't, you know what I mean? So and they're working with Delta and all these huge companies, and I didn't want to be looked at in that way. So I was going to pay. And he said, "No, honey, all those big guys, he said they are demanding, you know, lower costs and lower things." He said, "And your money is just as good as their money." And I said, "You're right."
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, I was at a conference, and it wasn't, you know, a race thing, but I was at a conference. It was a women's conference, and they were talking. It was heads of the companies in the local area. And one of the things that they said was that women would come in with 14 of the, you know, of the things that you need in order to perform the job, right? When they only had 10. And men will come in with 3. And women will say, "I can't do it." Where men will be like, "Let me go apply for this job," right? And so that really sounds out what you had just said. So one of the things, we're going to go to commercial break, but one of the things that I want to, because I'm just going to tell you, I don't know where I've heard you at before, but before the Nurse Ball Summit, I heard you before. And when I heard you on this particular time, like I'm not sure whether I could wrap my mind around what you had to offer. Okay. When you were talking about the nurse GPT, right? I couldn't map my mind around it. And so I just didn't. Right. And until AI came in and ChatGPT came in, then I was like, oh. And then when you presented it this time, I was like, I have heard her somewhere. Like, you've been somewhere that I've heard you. And I was like, it's just, it's amazing how she does it. So we're going to kind of demo what your GPT is whenever we come back, and then we'll talk about the implications and how it can help nurses within their business. Okay. All right. Our live event is going down twice a year in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, called the Millionaire Nurse CEO Conference. We will be covering the blueprint and master plan to grow a wealthy and flourishing company. We love that you listen to the podcast, but we want you in the room. We will be sharing insights on marketing and sales strategies so that you are able to create more impact and make more money, creating more freedom so that you can do the things that you love. So join us for the nursing event of the century. Go to vpnursing.com to sign up for this life-changing event. So we're back. So what we're going to do is we're going to share screens, and we're going to talk about this nursepreneur GPT. So you explain it, because it was amazing.
Yeah. So one of the other obstacles that we tend to have as entrepreneurs is being solopreneurs and being completely overstretched, because we have to do everything in our businesses. And so my mentorship program does that. It's a done for you service where I take away that work, you know, because I learned that I would give people solutions, but the execution of that, while still trying to do their craft and everything else, it becomes very, very daunting, and it makes people tap out. So when I was invited to speak at the Nurse Ball Summit, and I wanted to help them create digital products, I didn't want to go about it the traditional way, because I said, you know what? These women don't have the luxury of time. And sometimes your mental and emotional bandwidth is also a premium. So I designed this ChatGPT. I built this ChatGPT. A GPT, it's on ChatGPT, but I built a GPT with nurses in mind. And so knowing the theme of the conference was for nurses who are looking to start their own ventures. I know sometimes you guys want to stay within that field, but sometimes you want to ideate outside of that. So I created the Nursepreneur GPT that will help you the whole way. And instead of telling you guys, I'd rather show you what it can do. Okay. And so When you come here, there's a very simple interface, as you can see. I'll help you with an idea, right? Income stream, using your nursing expertise, or using your hobbies. So which one would you like to do? We're going to use you as our demo. So would you like help with an idea, adding an income stream, using your expertise, or discovering more with your hobbies and your passions?
Oh, let's go for income streams. Absolutely.
Okay. And so once you click that, you see there it says, hello, welcome to Nursepreneur, your partner in discovering new paths and possibility. What's your name? To get started, I'll need to know if you're an introvert or an extrovert or somewhere in between as well, right? So let's put in your name. So Dr. And for you guys, I'm going to type in all caps. I don't mean any offense. It's just that I don't type well, okay? So here we go. So, Doctor, are you okay with just saying Dr. Viola, or do you want to add your last name?
No, that's good.
Okay. And then, are you an introvert or an extrovert or somewhere in between?
I am an extrovert all day long.
There we go. And so I simply typed in your name and extrovert. It says, now, nice to meet you. Are you interested in exploring opportunities with your current nursing field, or do you have other hobbies or passions that you'd like to do?
Current.
So I just said current field. Says that's great. So they're going to leverage your expertise in your current field. Now, it will ask you for your resume, and that's really helpful because the more information you give it, the more that it has. But if it doesn't have your resume, it says, you can just tell us about your skills. So let's include your degree.
So I have a doctorate in nursing practice.
Okay, so I doctorate in nursing practices. Practice. Okay. And also, how many years of experience?
32.
Okay, so since we don't have the resume, I'm simply saying that part. Says that's impressive, Dr. Viola. So it's immediately now cultivating and curating things that you can do in opportunities. So the first suggestion is consulting services. The second is teaching and speaking engagements. Third, writing and publishing. Fourth, telehealth services. And 5, developing educational programs. Which one of these options resonates with you, or would you like to explore more ideas?
Oh, I mean, 1, 2, 3, and 5, I already do.
Wonderful. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 5. Okay, so would you like to do the 4, or would you like to explore more?
So no, we're good. We're good with that.
Okay, so we'll do 4. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we click 4, just that simple, telehealth, and it says services is an excellent choice, especially with the increasing demand for remote healthcare solutions. Your experience and advanced qualifications will make you well positioned to offer that care to patients in a more flexible way. So here's a detailed checklist to get started. So it's the researching and the planning, understanding the regulations, identifying your niche, market analysis, setting up your telehealth practices. So it's going over that, marketing, operational considerations. 5, launching and growing, and then the target audience. Now, this will deep dive and do all of this work for you. So see, would you like additional insights, finding potential mentors, or tips on budgeting for your new adventure? Or you can have it dive into any of these things. But for demo purposes, let's go with the questions that it's asking. Would you like insights on market trends, finding potential mentors, or tips on budgeting for your new venture?
Absolutely. All of that.
Okay, so we're going to say all of this. We're going to say all of this. Fantastic, right? So it says, okay, let's dive into it. Market trends in telehealth. So now it's telling you about the growing demand, chronic disease management, mental health services, integration and wearable technologies. It's getting into finding mentors and networking. Professions, associations is telling you where to start that. And we can deeper dive into this. Budgeting for your telehealth venture. So it's starting that. And so since we asked for all 3, it's going to give us the overview, and then it'll deep dive into each thing as we do each one, right? Okay. So you see how this is actually laying this all out for you, right? So now what we can do from here in terms of ideating, since we want to start with the market trends, I'm going to suggest that we deeper explore into one of these fields. Would you like to deeper dive into growing demand, chronic disease, mental health, or integrating wearable technology?
Integrating wearable technology.
Okay, let's deep dive into wearable tech. Now it's going to deep dive and give you even more information. So it's teaching you all about these things. So now you don't have to just sit and start from scratch and even try to figure out, because one of the hardest things is sometimes we don't even know what to ask, right? Because we don't even know what we don't know. And so the way that I created this is for people who don't necessarily know how to use AI. They may not know what to prompt. They may not know what information is available. So I have this created and designed where you don't have to type in all the questions. You see how it's already just deep diving into that research for you. And then it asks you if you want to expand, if you want to know more. So it has provided you with the overview of the wearable technology, the benefits of incorporating it into your practice, implementation steps for it, business opportunities and revenue models, challenges and considerations, and even your target audience. And then you can deep dive into any one of these. So this is actually doing the work for you. And I'll show you something that's even not, watch this. I'd like to host a webinar introducing wearable tech, right? I have a lot of typos, you guys, but he works with me, right? Introducing wearable tech. The audience are novice, right? Create the webinar. So watch this. Your webinar title, your objective, your target audience is giving you the webinar structure. Look at welcome and introduction of Dr. Viola. Briefly introduce yourself, the agenda, everything. You see? So you don't have to do any of this work. If you want to ideate on a new product, and it will do that with you. So it'll go through all of these steps and it'll actually create it. And that's what I wanted for the nurses. I know that you guys know your stuff. What will take the most time from you guys is actually putting it together, right? Actually ideating it, writing it all out and structuring it. And that's what the Nursepreneur GPT will do for you. So you don't have to do any of that. It'll actually put everything together, and it's trained on the medical field, but it's also trained to go outside of that scope for you guys.
So tell me what's the difference between I'm just going to ask, what's the difference between this and the regular GPT, chat GPT?
The regular GPT, you would have to actually ask these questions. So you would have to say, you would have to go forth with you. If you think about it, when we came here, it prompted you. So it says, hey, welcome to Nursepreneur. It says, just let me know your name. So I have it trained first off to get to know you. And then if you're an extrovert, it's only going to recommend opportunities that an extrovert would excel in. So that's one. With GPT, because it doesn't know you, it will just recommend a lot of things to you that your personality may not be suited for, right? And then on top of that, on the back end, I have it already trained to go do the task. You would have to tell it, go research this or go find this and go do all of this, where I already have it set to fetch with just one word. So see, when you said current field, it's already taken in your consideration, your doctoral degree and your experience. And now it's going to be very specific on that. So again, it's for people who you don't have to work or do any guesswork. So these results, we can't get this. If you went to chat and you just typed in, I'm Dr. Viola, right? And I want to start a business, you're going to have to work at that. You're going to have to really kind of get that conversation going with GPT to get it as focused as I have it for you.
Sweet. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And this is one of the good parts about it too. And I think I even added this. Watch this. Create a gamma presentation. So if anyone is familiar with Gamma for this webinar, you can, after you have this webinar, it will create the Gamma presentation. All we have to do is literally copy and paste this and insert it into Gamma, and then you will have your presentation made in about 90 seconds. So it will actually create the webinar. You don't even have to do the PowerPoint.
What is Gamma?
Oh, okay. So Gamma is a very wonderful, wonderful tool. I think once I show you this, you're going to be in love. Gamma creates pitch decks, PowerPoint presentations, and even websites, all with this information. So if you see here, I'm going to copy and paste this information right here. That's all I'm going to do, just to show you just how easy this is. I'm going to just copy this, right? So now I'm going to Gamma because I already have an account, and it's this simple. I said create AI, paste in text. I paste this text in.
Okay, no, we can't see your screen.
Oh, let me share this screen with you. Sorry about that. So let me share this new screen with you. So let me share this one, share screen, and it's the Gamma screen. Okay, so there we are. So just to show you, I went to Gamma, and here is Gamma when you first there. So I press create new AI, then paste in text, and I just pasted what I got from chat. And then this one gave me 9 slides. So I'm going to continue. And then I'm just going to generate. I'm going to go with the medium amount of text and change it to 9 cards. That's all. Then I'm going to pick a theme. And I'm going to pick one of the themes that I really, really like. So let's go with this theme. I think this one will be pretty good. And then I'm going to press generate. And it's literally that simple. So all I did was copy and paste literally the text, change the amount of slides. And as you can see, Gamma is now creating the PowerPoint images and everything included for that webinar.
Yeah, this is sweet. Oh my God.
Yes. So look at this. It's going off because it's already ideated on the back end, and AI knows how to talk to AI. So chat knows when I said, hey, go make this for Gamma. Look at this. It's all in here. Your wearable tech, the pictures, right? Finding your perfect niche. So here's your PowerPoint presentation.
That is crazy.
Yep. And it was that simple. You saw it was just a couple of keywords. And so look, and thank you for attending. And that's it. I think it took Gamma probably all of 90 seconds to finish this. And you can train it on specific things. If you want to have a diverse audience or, primarily a Black female audience, you can tell it, make sure that the images include, and then it'll do that for you as well. So this is your entire presentation, 9-slide deck that you could actually, there.
Wow.
See
and how much is Gamma a month?
Gamma is $19 a month, I believe.
19.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've heard of Tome, Tome, but this is much more like it's gorgeous.
And if you don't like any of the images, you can just right click on them. And then here it is. You can put in a different prompt. If you want a simple prompt, you press enhance prompt and it'll make your prompt even better. And then you generate and it'll just give you new images.
Wow.
And you can also include your own.
I love this. This is so good. This is so good. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
and
are you Gamma or you're just
Gamma. So I have the GPT, and then you can ask it to, and I'm going to put in that to create my Gamma prompt. So I'll do that too for you guys who don't know, what Gamma is. But that's it. So what the difference is that if you use Gamma, when you go on the back end, you're going to have to type all your text. You're going to have to actually say, okay, slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. When you ideate with the Nursepreneur GPT, now it knows exactly what you're doing. You guys are basically brainstormed together. It knows the direction that you're going in. So when you tell it to make my Gamma prompt, it's making it trained on the conversation that you had. That's why you can get those results. But if you were to just go in the back end of Gamma, you have to type all of that on your own.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so let me ask you this, because you're not a nurse. How did you, why did you come up with this idea for nurses? What prompted that?
Well, I'm not a nurse, but we've all had, I think, if I would say lucky and sometimes unlucky, you've had to interface with nurses and that. My mother is actually blind. She started going completely blind when I was 9 years old. And me just being around nurses, I've had children and everything, and knowing the amount of work and everything that you guys pour into. Then with the pandemic, I think we all got a little bit more educated. I'm here in New York on the sacrifice that nurses make. So I can never pretend to know your journey, but I've had an idea of what it takes. I wanted to go into social work. I didn't make it past the first class because when I saw the videos, I broke down crying and I said, oh my God, I can't do this. The children will be consoling me. It's okay. I'm like, no, it's not. No, and so I'm only and always ever considered what kind of a toll that people in your field who deal with human tragedy every day have to deal with. And so knowing that is what made me shift my positioning on what I was going to present and gift. And I said, I can't give them just the how. I can tell you how to make a digital product, but then you have to do it. So I said, let me do this and it will do the work for them. You guys already do enough. And that's why I did that.
It's crazy. It is. So thank you. That's all I got to say about this. Thank you. Because, and I'm just going to roll this banner, okay? Because I should have been rolling it the whole time. But thank you. Because I love everything about what you have done. Everything. And it's going to help us a great deal from this point forward. So one of the things that we do at the end, so first of all, I'll ask you at the end. We're going to do some rapid fire questions. Are you good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and I knew you would. So
we had a little spicy time before y'all got over here. So yeah, she knew. Mm-hmm.
So what has been the most rewarding thing about your career as an entrepreneur?
It's my strategy calls. It's the strategy calls. When I hear a person who has no idea what to do, how to do, and we end that call, and in 30 minutes or maybe sometimes 2-3 hours or 4 hours or whatever it takes, when I have them with this energy where they want to stay on the phone with me because they're just loving where we're going, but they want to get off the phone with me because they're like, I can do this. You literally empowered me. I can do this. That's the most rewarding. It is the tears of saying, thank you. I didn't think I could do this. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure about that. That is ultimately the biggest reward.
I love it. Now, tell me, what are you reading now?
So right now, I'm listening. Read a whole lot in college, but I have to read. Don't get me wrong, I have to read. But because I'm so myopic and I'm so manic in what I do, it takes a lot of my ocular attention, right? My eyeballs. So I have to take in audibly. Right now, it's the Founders podcast. So I'm always learning. Like right now, I'm learning, taking in information that's boring as hell to you guys. But it's the Founders podcast. The Founders podcast, and it's FOUNDR. It is a podcast where a guy's got to go to read 1,000 books on biographies on founders. And then he just tells it to us. But because he's read about 360, he's able to refer back to that guy. And he's so in depth that he'll do something like he'll read the Dyson, the guy who made Dyson, he'll read his autobiography. And if Dyson keeps referring to his mentor, he's like, I had to stop. I had to go read the mentor's biography so I could come back and get a better sense of who Dyson was. And he breaks it all down. And I'm realizing about 80% of these founders that we all admire, they came from the harshest and the hardest environments. We think that there was all resources and privilege. No. They're just like us. And I feel empowered. And I also expect hardness now versus why is this so hard or what am I doing? I know now this is part of the territory.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. Because I don't think I'd ever heard of that before. So I'm going to go and start listening.
It's audible.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of the biggest lessons that you have learned in business?
Oh, the biggest lessons is, let me see. I'm going to give you, I'm trying to think of one that's more universal. I would say that it's not going to be easy. And I know that that's cliche, right? But it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. And if you don't know that, you go into it assuming that you're doing something wrong or this or that. What I've also learned is when you get the mistakes early, you have to be grateful because you learn the discounts, the lessons at a discounted rate. Because a lot of mistakes we're going to make, but if we can iron those out early, it won't cost us as much later. So that part is being grateful for that, and that we're amongst a very special group of people. Because to stay in this and to do this for years and years and years, you have to be of a certain tribe. And so I'm very grateful for that as well.
I love it. I love it. It's such a pleasure. So who is a leader that is living or dead that you would like to have a conversation with?
I would definitely say Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, because Jeff, for him to have that little squirrely idea of the bookstore and then to see something so big and magnanimous, and then I can only imagine the people the resistance that he got, and then to have to run red and tell them we're going to run red, and to have the fortitude, the testicular fortitude to do that. That, and also the person who came up with chicken and waffles.
Chicken and waffles.
Because chicken and waffles, a lot of times when I talk to people and they're ideating and they're like, well, that doesn't go with that and that doesn't go with that. I said, neither did chicken and waffles, but I just want to talk to the guy. Because could you imagine when he came and said chicken and waffles, somebody was like, chicken and waffles, sir, that is breakfast, that is dinner, what are you talking about? And he was like, we're doing chicken and waffles. Like that, that takes something. I want to know what was he thinking, and I just want to know how many people told him he was crazy, and he kept going. So I always tell people, do your chicken and waffles. Don't let nobody tell you these two things don't go together.
Oh, Lord have mercy, you have made my day. Okay, what is your favorite movie?
Oh, I got a lot of them, but the one I would quote the most is The Color Purple. I think that one, and Tropic Thunder. Oh my God, I love Tropic Thunder. That is one of the funniest all-time movies is Tropic Thunder, but I have a lot of funny movies, but definitely Color Purple.
Now,
what did you say? I said in that cell. Said in that cell, them there right.
You did. That was really good. How do you define success?
I would say success is defined by that moment that you feel accomplished in your goals, regardless of what that is. I do not think that there is a numerical point to that. I don't think that there is an award or recognition for that. It is when you feel that you have actually accomplished what it is that you set out to do, then you have succeeded.
Sweet. What's your life's motto?
My life's motto is leave things better than I found them.
I love it. How can people find you?
Conundrum all across. Conundrum.com, Conundrum on Instagram. Shop at Conundrum is the store too, but yes, Conundrum everywhere. That keyword.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So thank you for joining us, because it has been a pleasure. It was a pleasure while we were at the Nurse Boss Summit, because you were hilarious, just as you have been today. Okay, the life of the party, right? I told you that when we first got on. I was like, you are the life of the party.
Yeah, you told me to go do my distance assessment, but what she meant to say was like, have you been evaluated? But she said it in a nice way. She was like, have you any assessment? And I said, oh, I know what she was thinking.
Yeah. But the deal is that it's just really, really good to get around people, number one, who want to see the world better and is actively doing the thing to make it better and just moving forward without stopping. So I love that. Yeah. So I want everyone to like, share, comment, download the podcast. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how you like this podcast. Let us know what you want to see in the future. And I thank Alquincia for coming here today, because you are just phenomenal. And
can I show them how to access it? Because it is private.
Okay.
It's not a public GPT. It's private. So I only gave it to you guys, and then even for here. So I'll share the screen so that they can see where to do it. And it's here. Here we go. Share. So here it is. It's on my Shop at Conundrum site. And you don't just get the access to the GPT. I also give you my webinar, and it teaches you how to create and sell digital products. And it's 2 webinars, because once you create the webinar, once you create your digital product, whatever that is, you do need strategies in order to sell that as well. So I give you that. And then I even give you a resource guide for people who just want to start from scratch and they're like, just give me some ideas. There's an easy one. So if anybody wants to access it now, here is the QR code. You would just scan that, and then it would give you access, because this is not something that is widely available. I made it exclusive for the Nurse Boss Summit, and I'm making it exclusive now for this podcast. So it's not something that you can just find on my site.
Well, good. Thank you to everybody. Right. Thank you in the comments. Okay. Because you didn't have to do that. I love it. So thank you. And you ladies and gentlemen, have an amazing rest of your day.